It has just been revealed as the March Madness tournament makers have released the top 16 rankings of the first edition of this year's tournament, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Duke Basketball 365. If you're a Duke Blue Devils fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 10% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. Let's jump right into what we have for today. Got this nice little picture from Pete Nakos on X with on 3. The March Madness, the people who are going to be in the room revealing or making the actual selections for who will be in what seed come March. This year, they're changing it up. They are, just like they did it in college football, they are giving us, I guess, weekly now. We're going forwards with that assumption, but we're getting an early look at where they have every single team ranked. There are some pros to this. There are some cons to this. The first con is this is not a projection of what they are expecting to happen. This is if the college basketball season ended today, which is impossible, this is what the bracket would look like today. So it's not a projection. That's what ESPN's Joe Lunardi's brackets are, projections taking into account big matchups down the road and taking into account conference champions. This is just what the top 16 seeds of the bracket would look like today. We know there are going to be massive changes in the top 4 because of some of the games that are scheduled for today. But the pro of this is we get some insight behind the scenes on what the people putting this tournament together, what they like, what they covet, what kind of metrics they raise up the board, and what kind of metrics do they not think of as highly, so we can get an idea of how they are going to value teams come March Madness, come Selection Sunday. We are ranked number 2, which is pretty much where you expected the Duke Blue Devils to be. Right now, we are behind Michigan number 1. But if you're watching this video, you probably know that at 6:30 this Saturday afternoon, we have a big-time matchup in Washington, D.C. against the number 1 overall seed, the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is a 2.5-point favorite, but this should be an absolutely amazing game. We can get back to that graphic later if we want. But a couple things to take a look at here. We can see that if the tournament ended today, we can figure out exactly who Duke would be playing. Quick takeaways from this. We are seeing from the 4 seeds, Texas Tech, they just lost JT Toppin, their star player, for the entire year. He's out with a torn ACL. Texas Tech is not going to finish ranked this highly, but it's not a projection. This is what they are seeing today. Also, Houston as the 6th seed, that's absolutely insane. But let's go to a potentially more impactful, a better graphic here, which breaks these rankings down by region. I believe there was a mistake made here, because shouldn't Michigan, the number 1 seed, get Purdue, the number 8 overall seed, and the worst 2 seed? That's how I believe it should look, but I think that CBS Sports rushed this graphic out and made a mistake on it. But we can see that Duke has an absolutely insanely difficult schedule. First of all, or our region, we have Illinois, that if we look at our KenPom rankings, Illinois is the 4th highest KenPom ranked team, aka they should be a 1 seed, and they are our 2 seed and the tournament overall's 7 seed. So that is an extremely underseeded team. We also have the Kansas Jayhawks, who at the 10th seed, the KenPom ratings tell us that they are underseeded. Actually, let me pull them up. They're number 14 with a rating of 27.56. The KenPom rating tells us that Kansas as the 10th seed is overseeded. I'm sorry, I called them underseeded. We're seeing that Kansas is seeded too high, but we know what the bracket makers know, and what KenPom does not take into account is we know that Kansas is having trouble with their star player, Darren Peterson. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. Feels like he plays whenever he wants and doesn't play whenever he wants. That makes Kansas significantly scarier than where they are currently KenPom rated. That's also another team that you don't want to see in your bracket. However, I understand as the second overall seed in the bracket, we're going to get one of the better 3 seeds. And right now, the 3 seeds to pick from Florida, Kansas, those two are scary. Nebraska and Gonzaga, those are the two that we would rather have, but currently we are getting Kansas. And then rolling it through with Vanderbilt, another team that is underseeded. That's another team that we don't want to see. If we look at the KenPom rankings again, Vanderbilt, the 12th highest ranking in the country. Yet, they're not a 3 seed, they're a 4 seed. And of course, they're in our region. We would rather see any of the other 4 seeds. We're expected as the 2 seed, we're expected to get the second worst, as a 1 seed, the 2 overall seed, we are expected to get the second worst 2 seed, which will be the 7 seed, but unfortunately Illinois is underseeded. Then with the 3 seed, we are expecting a strong 3 seed, which is what we got, which is, I'm not complaining about, that's what we got. Then for the 4 seed, we should be getting the 15 spot, which should be one of the 2 worst 4 seeds, but instead we have the hardest 4 seed in the country. So right now, not looking so hot. Unfortunately, the way that things are shaking out today, not looking so hot for Duke. However, we know there is a ton of stuff to shake up these rankings, and we know that it will not look like this come Selection Sunday, but it is fun to go through and look at these types of rankings, and it's very interesting to see them releasing these rankings as early as they did after the takeaway from the college football season was we probably shouldn't be releasing the top 12 every week because it pissed off Miami and Notre Dame. So they were probably getting rid of that for college football. So why are they bringing it back for college basketball? Likely because whether you are ranked in the top 16 or the top 20, you're still going to make the March Madness tournament. You just won't be as high of a seed. So it's not going to make people mad. But, so I do think you can do this for college basketball, but not college football. But it is exciting to see something like this so we can get a sense for where we're going to be ranked. Even if you're Duke, you know where you're going to be ranked. We know we're going to be a 1 seed, but it is cool to see how it's shaking out and how the other seeds are shaking out. But speaking of other things we're excited for, this Michigan game tonight, going to be absolutely insane. The over-under is placed at a pretty high 150.5, meaning both teams combined, or the Vegas odds makers are expecting a 76 to 75 basketball game. Actually, no, let's actually work out the math here. So 150, so what would that be? Like 74 to 76? They're expecting Michigan to win 74 to 76 or 77 to 75. That's what Vegas is expecting the game to be. In our last video, we looked at the KenPom rankings. They were expecting something in the exact ballpark of that. I believe that was 77 to 75, a Michigan victory. We're sitting here, of course, hoping that Duke is going to be able to scrape this thing out. But whether we win or lose, this is going to be an amazing game, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch it. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Duke.